The Georgia Bulldogs, the Road Dogs, got a big win yesterday, 16-6. They are now undefeated for 2 straight years in SEC play. I can't stress how impressive that is to be undefeated in conference play for back-to-back years in the toughest conference in America. Extremely impressive. Kirby Smart is building a machine over there. Now, this game, you're going to see the final score and you say, wow, Georgia only won by 10 points against Kentucky? I can assure you, this game, this feat by Georgia to win this game is much more impressive than the optics would indicate. Because here's how it looks to, the untrained eye. Kentucky, the Kentucky logo, first of all, you think, okay, it's a basketball school, whatever. Okay, they got a quarterback who's, a big guy in the draft world, but what has he done to this point in the year? Kentucky just lost to Vanderbilt. Georgia's a machine. Georgia should blow them out of the water. Like, that's what your mind is thinking when you look at this matchup and you look at, how this game could potentially go. Now, here's the reality of why this game was difficult and why it was impressive that Georgia won in the fashion that they did. This was a November game, and Kirby Smart said it. This is the part of the year where everybody's beat up, everybody's sore, and you find out who really wants to play physical style of football. Well, Kentucky has a running back by the name of Chris Rodriguez. He gets downhill with bad intentions, and to use Kirby Smart's verbiage, he cherishes and seeks contact. Meaning, as a defense, play in and play out, you have to decide, you have to make a scholarship decision. Do I want to go and meet this man head up? So that's the first part, the physicality of it. The second part, it is a road game in the SEC. Need I say more? It don't matter what month of the year it is. To go on the road in the Southeastern Conference is never fun. I don't care where you're going, all right? So to have to go play anybody in the SEC, much less Kentucky on the road in November, like, these things start to stack up. And also, it's a well-coached football team. Like, Coach Stoops consistently every single year has this team ready to play. They have built a program at Kentucky, and they're going to be able to give you a game no matter who you are. Again, no matter what time of the year it is, because that's just the kind of operation they have going there. And then to sprinkle it on top of there, they got Will Levis, who, has he been the most consistent this year? No, I think there's more than what meets the eye that plays into that. But you have a quarterback who's going to be in the NFL here very, very soon and probably be a high draft pick that is on the other side, that is capable, at the very least, has it under the hood to hurt you if you don't bring your A game on that Saturday afternoon. So you see this final score and say, wow, what was Georgia doing? Well, they won a football game on the road in the SEC in November. That's what they were doing. And Kirby Smart will tell you, that's an impressive thing to get done at this point in the year. A lot of teams stumbled yesterday. Georgia was not one of them. Really quick, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, we'd love to have you. A lot of you Georgia fans, these last 2 weeks, there has been an outpouring, rather an influx of y'all that have joined the party and subscribed. So welcome. If you haven't yet, jump on In the Water's fine. Also, follow me on the socials at JD Piquel on both Twitter and Instagram. Great way for us to interact. Kentucky is a really good defensive team. But what makes Georgia so interesting to me as an offense is the kind of fights they're able to win. Like, Georgia can fight a lot of different styles. And we've said this before about this on the program. We saw them against Florida. They won that game scoring 40+. Like, that was the kind of game that they were able to play that day. They said, you want to, go toe-to-toe and you want to make us score on you a lot? Okay, that's fine. We'll do it. We can play that kind of game. Let's do it. Yesterday, Kentucky, and Kirby talked about it in his post-game presser, they were going to try and shorten the game. Try and play ground and pound, try and play ball control. And Georgia, they can dictate the tempo to you, but in this sense, they said, okay, that's fine. We're going to play that game too. Ran for 240+ yards as a team. Kenny McIntosh had a day and a half running for 143 yards. If they can continue to ride his efforts forward, if he can kind of be that bell cow, now he shared carries, but if he becomes the featured back going forward, I think this team is going to just continue to take positive steps forward. I really do. And that's saying something that's a little bit scary because Georgia's already really good, but they're playing their best football in the month of November. So they won that game yesterday with great physical running style, up front offensively, and then also playing elite team defense. The offense didn't have their best day yesterday. They scored 16 points. It was 9-0 in the first half. But the elite team speed of the defense, they were flying around. And again, they rose to the challenge of what yesterday required in terms of physicality and contact and having to meet Chris Rodriguez in the hole. They did that. Advantage, credit Georgia. That comes from what they do during the week. The Bloody Tuesday, the good on good, the demand of what Kirby Smart puts on this football program. You're starting to see the dividends of the process internally at Georgia. It's starting to pay off in a big way in the month of November. So here's why I think Georgia is more dangerous than people are perceiving. Georgia last year was dominant, right? Like the defense speaks for itself. There is tons of guys that were on that defense a season ago that got drafted really, really high and are making a lot of money, and for good reason. Here's why I think this team is potentially a smidge, I don't know if more dangerous is the word, but why I think they're going to be more dangerous as this year wears on. Last year's team was extremely dominant. And that's not, to knock that program, but there was never a point where you ever really had to see them overcome adversity outside of, I guess, that SEC title game where they lost and had to play Bama again. But there wasn't points during the season where they, had the Missouri game on the road, they got down, had to come back, or they got in a dogfight with Kentucky. Like, there wasn't that sort of game for last year's Georgia team. Now, this year's Georgia team, Kirby Smart asked them during the week, a lot of these seniors, he said, what makes y'all different? What do you play for? And the response, the majority response was our response to adversity, how we handle adversity as a program. So this year's Georgia team, new pieces on defense, yes, but they're going to be a problem for you because when you get them in a corner, when you get them on the ropes, if you hit Georgia in the mouth like we've seen before, it's not going to be their first time. Would you rather fight the prize fighter when they've never been in a real bout before? Or would you rather fight the guy who's taken a punch and still is undefeated? That's what I think you get in this Georgia team right now. This Georgia team is very much so its own movie. A lot of people want to make it the sequel to 2021, and they're going back to back, and that's like the goal for them. Like, yeah, I understand that. But all the new pieces and all the new mentality and the new muscles they've been able to flex from a response standpoint is why this Georgia team is who you don't want to draw when it comes to the college football playoff. So they're still rolling. They still got a lot in front of them. They play Georgia Tech this coming weekend. They'll get LSU in the SEC title game in Atlanta, and I would be overwhelmingly surprised if there was anything that kept them from being in the college football playoff. All right, so the Dogs went on the road and got it done 16-6 at Kentucky. This is a dangerous group. These Dogs bite. I'm JD Piquel. This has been The Hard Count. We appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Nick Brake does the real heavy lifting and every single thing that you see here, but you drive this whole operation. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.